So here are the examples of thematic mapping applications. PopDens, tinatawag, na population density maps in urban planning. Land use classification maps in environmental management. Crime heat maps for law enforcement. Health risk assessment maps in public health. Transportation network maps for infrastructure planning. Soil quality maps for agricultural planning. Biodiversity distribution maps in conservation biology. Economic development maps for regional planning. So, yeah, those are some of the examples na ginagamit or application ng mapping natin. So, usually sa amin, ito, EcoDev, yan, meron kami yan. Route map, transportation network map, meron din kami yan. Ako rin yung gumagawa niyan. Health, meron din, ako rin. Crime, yeah. Karamihan yan, meron. Application yung mapping. Importance of thematic mapping in supporting data decision making and analysis. Yeah, unang-una, you have here the identifying patterns. So when we say identifying patterns, thematic maps reveal spatial patterns and relationships that inform decision making and policy formulation. So again, pinakamagandang example dyan is COVID. Diba yung kanina? So, yung pattern mo doon, so dito pala maraming patients ng COVID. I have to deploy or I have to formulate policy restricting the movement of people, restricting the movement of individuals inside that radius, 'di ba? So may pattern ka na and then you can easily formulate policies para hindi na kumalat pa yung COVID. Second one is spatial analysis. Thematic mapping enables spatial analysis to assess trends, correlations, and spatial dependencies for informed decision making. So pag na-analyze mo yung area na to is malapit sa ilog, might as well arrive to the conclusion na ano ka, magiging flood prone yung area na yon. Then you can easily decide whether or not you deploy or you rescue them during flood, di ba? The third one is resource allocation. Decision makers use thematic maps to allocate resources effectively based on spatial disparities and needs. So yeah, uh, again, we have to allocate our lands efficiently and effectively. No? Hindi pwede yung katulad sa Manila, no? Wala ka ng ano dun eh. I think, as far as I'm concerned, wala na yatang green areas doon. Di ba? Kasi, based sa ano ba? House and land use, ganon, group. Sa isang area, dapat meron kang at least, I think, 30% na green areas. Meaning, may mga parks ka, meron kang mga trees, yan, 30% of an area as far as I know, no? So, sa Palayan City, with that, mag-iwan ka dapat ng 30% na areas na green. And also, 20% for buildable area, kung saan mag-allocate ka ng areas for expansion, for buildings, yun lang. Hindi kasi pwedeng yung area mo, ubusin mo for, for development. Dapat magtira ka rin for environment, for water development, for roads, no? So you have to allocate everything. Hindi lang pera yung ina-allocate natin, but also the use of our lands. Fourth one is risk assessment. Again, pinakamagandang example dyan sa risk assessment is yung sa flood and sa landslide. Okay, the last one is scenario planning. Thematic map supports scenario planning and impact assessment by visualizing potential outcomes and alternatives. Again, for rescue, pinakamadaling example kasi yung sa no? Sa disaster risk management. Kasi makapag-assess ka diyan, makapagplano ka rin diyan, 'di ba? So those are the importance of thematic mapping in support on decision making and analysis. And yeah, best practices for thematic map creation, the color selection, the contrast hue, legend design, labeling, and map title. So, ito kasing mapa na to is kagagawa ko lang last week, no? Nag-revise kami ng land use namin. Last 2019 yung huling tawag dito, ang huling revision. So, 5 years after, 4 years after, in preparation para sa 2024. So, yeah, nag-revise kami ng aming mapa. And here, the color selection from green to yellow to red to orange. Yeah, yellow. From green to orange to red to yellow. Yan. So, ito ay slope map of Palayan City. So, 30% to 50% yung sobrang steep. 8 to 18% yung medyo steep. And, yeah, ito naman yung 0 to 8% yan. Buildable pa siya. Pero pagdating mo ng 8% hanggang 50%, di ka na pwede magtayo dyan. Sobrang tarik na yan. Okay? So, color selection, when we say green, pwede pa. Now, choose a color scheme that is intuitive, visually appealing, and suitable for colorblind users. I think ito, pagka high contrast naman to, is mababasa naman nila. Contrast and hue. Ensure if sufficient contrast between map elements to enhance readability and differentiation. Yes. Kasi, dito ma-differentiate mo kaagad na sa green, pwede kang magtayo ng mapa. Pagdating sa slope, ha? Ngayon, pag i-overlay mo pa dyan yung flood sa may bandang northwest side ng Palayan City, hindi ka na pwede magtayo dyan. So, ililes mo yung slope, ililes mo yung flood prone, yun ang magiging net buildable area mo. Next one is legend design. When we say legend design, create a clear and informative legend that explains map symbols, classifications, and units of measurement. So, meron tayo ditong legends kung saan ito daw the green is 0 to 3%. So, quite level yung area na yan. And pagdating sa 3 to 8%, medyo slopey na siya. And pagdating sa 8 to 50%, yan, medyo matatarik na area na yan. So, that's legend design. Di ba? So, you can easily identify naman yan. The fourth one is labeling. When we say labeling, label map features appropriately to provide context and aid interpretation, avoiding clutter and overlap. So, again, meron tayong mga labels dyan. Generality nyo sa Boto, sa South. Sa West is Cabanatuan. Sa North is Natividad. And sa East ay Laur. And also, we have here the index map of Palayan City, the logo of Palayan City, and the North Arrow. So, those are the labeling and map title. Sa map title naman, include a descriptive and concise map title that communicates the map's theme or purpose effectively. So, yeah, ang title nito is Slope Map of Palayan City. And as you can interpret it, pag ginawa mong red to orange, talagang slopey na yan. Matatarik na area na yan. So, itong color coding na to is coming from the UP something. No? Sa UP galing yung color coding na yan. So, sinunod lang namin. And those are the practices of thematic mapping creation, the creation of thematic map, the color selection, the contrast and hue, the legend design, labeling, and map title. And ito na tayo sa last slide natin, the importance of following established cartographic standards. So basically, long before, marami na tayong mga standards when it comes to mapping, no? Na kailangan natin sundin para sa ganun, unified ang paggawa natin ng mapa in accordance tayo sa national agencies, ginagawa nila mga mapa. Okay? So here the importance of the following: consistency, accuracy, accessibility, professionalism, interoperability, legal compliance, quality assurance, and user satisfaction. When we say consistency, no, following cartographic standards ensures consistency in map design and presentation across different maps and projects. So yeah, meron kasi tayong standard na source of land use mapping. Meron tayong guidebook na tinatawag kung saan nandun yung mga color coding na dapat natin sundin para consistent tayo sa iba't ibang mapa na pinoproduce ng mga local government units at the same time ng national agencies natin. Hindi kasi pwedeng ang residential area ng national agencies natin ay red. And pagdating sa baba is kulay pink. So, hindi siya consistent kaagad. So, dapat kung ano yung standard na meron sa national, yun din ang standard na meron tayo sa local. Okay? So, para consistent yung ating mga color coding and presentation of maps and projects. The second one is accuracy. Established standards help maintain accuracy and reliability in map presentation, minimizing errors and misinterpretations. Yeah. So for example, sa national agencies natin is yung yellow, yung land use, residential natin, and sa local, yung yellow natin is agriculture. So hindi kagad magiging accurate yung tingin ng mga tao dyan. So sabihin ng tao, ay napakaluwang pala ng residential sa Palayan City. Pero sa totoo, yung palang yellow na yun is agricultural area. So hindi na kagad accurate yung binibigay na idea or yung mapa na binibigay ng Palayan City. That's why, again, we have to follow the standards established by national agencies. Okay? The third one is accessibility. Cartographic standards promote accessibility by providing guidelines for creating maps that are usable by diverse audiences. And the fourth one is professionalism. Adhering to standards demonstrates professionalism and expertise in cartographic design, enhancing the credibility of map products. Yeah, kasi itong mapa ganito, pag tinignan nyo yung sa Namria, yung negative space niya or yung map niya mismo is nasa taas. And yung other details niya is nasa ilalim. So, yeah, ginaya ko lang siya because that's their standard na kailangan gayahin. No? So, if you are into land use planning, iba rin ang standard nila. If you are into NDRRMC, sa National Disaster Council, iba din yung mapa nilang gustong, iba rin yung mapa nila. No? So, adhering to the standards demonstrates professionalism. The fifth one is interoperability. Maps created following established standards are more likely to be interoperable with other mapping tools and systems, facilitating data sharing and collaboration. So, pagka gumamit tayo ng Quantum GIS, if the national agency is using Quantum GIS, make sure that you are also using Quantum GIS. Or vice versa, if they are using ARC, you must also use ARC. But at the end of the day, they are using one file only. That's the shape file. And its batch attachments. For example, yung shape file na meron kang project, meron ka ring attributes, meron ka ring database. Yung .db, .shape, di ba? So, yung ginagawa mong output ng mapa must be interoperable with other tools, with other systems that the national agencies are using. Okay, the sixth one is legal compliance. Cartographic standards may include legal requirements and guidelines for map production, ensuring compliance with relevant regulation standards. Again, sa ginagawa naming mapa sa land use planning, we are using the standards of CLUP or the guidelines, the guidebook provided by the DSUD or the Department of Human Settlements and Urban Development. So, yun ang ginagamit namin for legal compliance. Okay? Quality assurance standards provide a framework for quality assurance and validation of map products, helping to identify and address potential issues. So dito sa quality ng ginagawa naming mapa, itong percentage na to is based pa rin to sa standard. Itong 0 to 3%, 3 to 8%, 8 to 18, 18 to 30, and 30 to 50. So yung classification na yan is I think galing sa CLUP or sa DSUD din sa pagkuha ng slope map ng isang location. So yeah, those are the standards that we have using. Last one is user satisfaction. Following cartographic standards results in maps that are more usable, understandable, and visually appealing, leading to greater user satisfaction and engagement. So for example, nag-produce ka ng mapa na hindi naman align sa national agencies. So pag-receive nila ng mga files mo, hindi sila satisfied. Why? Kasi hindi ni standard yung gawa mo, hindi papasok sa standard nila. Meaning, hindi compatible yung gawa mo sa standard na provide nila. So, yung satisfaction ng user, hindi din maganda. Kakaroon ka ng negative feedback kung saan sabi nila, hindi po ito yung nasa guidebook, pakiulit po ito. So, yung time mo is nasayang lang. Make sure na yung kailangan mo naman, yung kailangan nila is ibigay natin na compatible sa gusto nila. So, mabawasan natin yung dissatisfaction, but then again, yung user satisfaction is tataas. Okay, so those are the importance of following established cartographic standards. We have the consistency, accuracy, accessibility, professionalism, interoperability, legal compliance, quality assurance, and user satisfaction. So that ends our presentation. No, it's an hour and 30 minutes. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your attendance. See you again next time.